this morning, so booked those flights to Greece. There are a lot of chemistry and passion, 1000%, to stay in London and all the sacrifice and all the hard work. He's in Rio de Janeiro. Do you know how many gringos are in Rio de Janeiro and Brasileiras? This is a really good question. Long distance relationship, does he speak English? Test. Hi guys, welcome back to another sit down, get ready with me while I answer some questions. I've just finished a coffee. I've just finished like an 8-hour shift down at the bakery. I got up at 5:15 this morning, so 5 bags under my eyes, that is why. Also, my skin has not been being the best lately, and I don't know why, but my eyebrows look unreal. I got them microbladed and I just love them because when I'm at the gym, it just looks like I'm put together when I have no makeup on. But cheers. Anyway, not much of an intro because I just want to get straight into it. Everything's kind of the same in Australia. I got a new flatmate, which is a Brazilian girl. She actually followed me on Instagram and she was like, I only need the place for a month. And I said, no, I need someone like long term because doing all the viewings and like having people come and go is just too stressful. I need someone just here like at least for 6 months during winter. And then her plans changed, so she decided to stay. So it was amazing because I just feel like every week there's just something else coming up and I feel like I'm like can't come up to breathe. But it's okay. I actually got a lot of questions, more than I expected, because I did a get ready with me the other week and it did really well, and I'm being consistent and showing up on this platform. So let me find the questions. Screenshots. These are the questions. Quite a lot. Okay, straight into it. Content of the World Cup, come on. That's from Deskin Palik. I actually have taken a big step back from filming content and making content because I'm catching up on a lot of content, and I'm also in the process of building an online business because I want to have multiple streams of income. So yes, I have taken quite a big step from producing, filming and making content so that I can have other things building and create and start new projects. And I feel like Australia is somewhere I'm always going to be, like here and there. So it's always like I can make content here. When I was traveling all these other places, I just don't know when I'm going to be back. So yeah, I have been taking a little step back from the content, but it just means bigger and better things are coming. Why are you doing a Euro summer going to be underwhelming after Brazil? This is from Elish McCorrell. Oh, I'm also meant to be doing a get ready with me. I'm doing my makeup. I'm doing a Europe summer because this is the concealers I'm using. This is actually a brand trip, and when my Instagram account got taken, the first thing I was like, no, the Greece trip. I was like, oh my gosh, because I didn't know if the company, if I didn't have my platform, would work with me, even though I do have a good following on TikTok. But I got my Instagram back, so it is actually, I'm going there and I'm getting a lot of content for this Life as a Party, which is like a party group. Like you book the trip and you go as like a solo traveler, and it's like boat hopping around all the Greek islands. I cannot believe I literally leave in like 28 days. I'm so excited. So that was, a big reason to get back to Europe. I also didn't want to miss out on a Europe summer after doing 3. So yeah, we're going to Greece. I also went to Greece last year for my birthday, and it's probably one of my favorite places I've ever been. It's stunning. So I'm really excited to go back. And I'm also going back to Brazil in December. So I'm getting the best of both worlds. Honestly, sometimes I'm like, Lindsay, why don't you chill? And why don't you just actually stay in one spot and save money? But then I feel like I really perform under pressure. At one point, I didn't think I was going to Greece. I was like, can't afford this. This is too overwhelming. This is too much. And I was like, you know what? When the haters took my Instagram account, I was like, if there's one thing that I'm going to do is I am going to show up and be there for Europe summer round 4. So that's why I went down and got a cafe job because, oh wait, let me do my, sorry, I'm getting so distracted. I get so like into it straight away. Fluid Share from Giorgio Armani. So that's why I literally like the next week I got back in Australia. I was like, right, don't know when Instagram account's coming back. I went down and got a cafe job. And let me tell you, when I booked those flights to Greece, oh my God, they cost so much. I'm just literally dreaming of all the content I'm gonna get. So I'm super excited. I'm also trying to push out so much editing because I don't even have last year's Greece YouTube vlogs out. Everyone always comments it's so confusing that like my YouTube vlogs are a year behind. Unfortunately, I work full-time jobs, so anytime I get to edit my YouTube is in my own time, and most of the time I'm filming and creating content. So that's why I've actually pulled back on doing content, because I'm trying to push out my YouTube. Okay, primer is on. Long distance relationship, does he speak English? This is cat_Liberry. No. Do I speak Portuguese? No. Is there a lot of chemistry and passion? 1000%. And you know what? Okay, I'm using e.l.f. primer. People always were like, oh, how do you guys communicate? But you can actually communicate a lot with limited vocabulary and a lot of body language. That's pretty much what we did when I was in Brazil. Like I actually knew like I knew like a fair amount of Portuguese for someone who only started trying my last month living there. And then you have a bit of a Google translator and then you're pretty much communicating. So yeah. We just FaceTime and then have the Google, we'll FaceTime talking, like Portuguese, English, and then if we kind of don't understand something, we go message, and then we will translate it in the message. Honestly, if he wanted to, he would, and this is really clear with Josiah, like he translates all my messages to English so I can read them straight away, whereas with my ex, he just spoke Portuguese and I had to go and translate the Portuguese to English, and then I would put the English to Portuguese to send to him. So, all right, face is primed. Now we're gonna put this concealer. I'm just gonna do a light bit of makeup because it's like 3 p.m. and I'm not doing anything tonight but sitting on those computers and editing. It's a Friday night and there's nothing more than I would rather do than sit in this house and edit. Call me a hermit, call me whatever, but I just love a night, phones off. I would have a cocktail, but I've actually had 2 months off alcohol and my body has looked so good. I also have Greece coming up and I feel like I just don't want to drink till I'm in Greece. So we've gone 3 months sober. So yeah. Okay, I can literally chat till the cows come home. So I need to like wrap up these questions so I don't go on forever. Concealer here. All right, next question. There's something in Portuguese, so I have to ChatGPT that. 1 second. It says Nova Zelândia. So it's Portuguese. Read the Portuguese. I should, if my housemate was here, because she's going to help me with my Portuguese. It's good to have like someone, because I obviously with Josiah on the phone, I get him to teach me a phrase like every couple of days, and I practice it to him whenever I see him, when I call him every day. But because of like the, excuse me, you can't really hear the pronunciation so well as you can in person. Have you ever thought about moving back to New Zealand? Okay, interesting question. We're gonna go in with, this concealer on my blemishes. And honestly, no, never. So half my family lives in Australia and half my family lives in New Zealand. I moved to Australia on my 18th birthday and I moved here and only had one brother in Australia. And since then I've had another brother and my dad move over. New Zealand is an amazing place to grow up, an amazing place to be retired, so like in your 60s. But in between, I just really don't think it's the best place to be. Like, it's still amazing, but I still think there's better places. New Zealand has got really expensive as well, and it's super isolated. And I think after living in so many places around the world, and I grew up in a tiny town on a farm for like 16 years of my life, and my life was super, super isolated, I crave being around things and people and like lots of events and the beach and stuff like that. Like New Zealand, you can literally drive for 2 hours in New Zealand and not see a single thing but sheep. Like, people say that as a joke, but it's so true. And yeah, I don't know, it is a great place. It's so safe, really good food, like the fruit and the veggies and the produce and the meat, and super safe, great outdoors, beautiful beaches, super isolated. New Zealand is a great place if you want to go and not be around people. But no, I would never consider to go back to New Zealand. Australia is home for me, and a lot of people get confused whenever I speak on this because I always go, oh, I'm going to go home, and I'm always speaking about Sydney, and people are like, aren't you from New Zealand? And it's like, I haven't lived in New Zealand now for 10 years, so Australia is home for me. So yeah, I wouldn't move back to New Zealand to answer that. Okay, I'm going to put concealer just here. I just did the dermablading, and now I've put all these products on and my skin is kind of stinging. Oh no, I also did a face mask. I was filming some PR before that, maybe that's why it's stinging. Not like in a bad way, I think just in like a way that like the mask is working. Okay, next question. Wow, I can speak so much. This is from Zad Lima. How did you get a visa sponsorship in London? I'm trying, but it's so hard. So I think, actually I'm gonna do a tiny bit of foundation. This is Giorgio Armani. So I think this is why it was really, really hard for me to not take the opportunity to stay in London, because I obviously had it and I knew how hard every year it's getting to stay in London and to get sponsorship. I'll blend this in. So I worked in social media for finance companies, fintech companies. It's what I've always done because fintech always pays the best for social media managers. It's what I did in Australia before I left. I worked for the biggest broker here, and then when I went to London it was the same. And I did a really, really good job at the broker or the fintech company I was working for. It was like a medium-sized company. I had 7 offices and they were growing because their product was getting better and better, and I was the only person that did the social media for this whole global company, and I really took it like under my wing and I really made it my baby and kind of treated their social media like my own. And I was doing interviews and I kind of like transformed their socials, but also kind of set the way that the fintech, you know, when you think of like finance for social media, people are like, how do you do social media for that? That's the thing. It's really hard because there's a lot of regulation. There's a lot of things you can't say. But I just started to be like, well, I'm a girly and I'm on social media, and why would I watch videos about a finance company? And I just started to think like financial literacy, like financial knowledge, like, you know, things that like get people thinking like, hey, like, where are you investing your money this year? Or hey, do you have any money saving tips? Or things that like, I don't, you know, you think who's on social media, you know, like our generation, and just thought like, what are they thinking? And then obviously the call to action is to then lead to the product, which is to open an account with the fintech that I worked for, which was just a business fintech, but I think now they're going to personal accounts as well. And I also saw on LinkedIn that they have credit cards or debit cards or business cards coming out now. So yeah, the company was expanding and was doing really well, and they literally didn't hesitate to give me sponsorship, which was amazing. And I was crying in my exit interview because I just knew all the sacrifice and all the hard work and all the setbacks I took in London, and to get to a point where I had the opportunity to stay and have sponsorship, and I knew, you know, that's something I really wanted. And it was hard because I know what I did and what lengths I did to achieve it, and to not take it and know that that's probably never ever gonna be given to me again. Yeah, I was crying a lot, and it was so sudden at work. One day I was working as if I'm taking sponsorship and I'm going to be in London for the next 2 years, and then the next week I was like, I'm packing up my whole life in a month and I'm leaving this country. And it was, yeah, it was hard. And I guess that's making it really hard to settle back into Australia. But yeah, I would just say like, persevere, don't give up, because I think of all the times if I had given up, oh my God, my legs get so dead on these get ready with me's. If I had given up, the amount of setbacks I took, like, yeah, I would have never got sponsorship. I would just say persevere and try to get a skill set that obviously the UK is looking for. And that's a niche. For me, it was social media and fintech, and I had really good experience in that. So yeah, and I wish you all the best of luck because I know how hard it is. Okay, next question. What did you like the most / the least of London? Carla D. Reda. I'm just going to quickly blend this out. because otherwise I will like do my get ready with me and like none of the makeup will be done. I'm not trying to do it too cakey either because like I said, it's only 3. I think I want to try go film another video, maybe on the rocks. I'm trying to like really pump my YouTube out. Okay, what was the question? Look at me getting sidetracked. Something like what did you like the most and the least of London? I would say the least is the weather. The weather is so unbelievably bad. But I will say, I lived in Ireland for a year and Ireland's weather is 10 times worse. So every time I was in London and I would be complaining about the weather, I would think back to my time living in Ireland and I was like, you know what? These grey skies in London isn't too bad because in Ireland, I swear to God, it rains like 300 out of 365 days of the year. It's horrible. The weather in London and how expensive it is because I just feel like it's so easy to just slip into like seasonal depression. You're broke, it's really bad weather and people are just like not happy around you because everyone's really like grinding and struggling and like everyone's in the grind. So, you're on the tube and no one's like, everyone's just like, it's a lot of pressure in London, but pressure is a privilege and I would have never achieved what I've achieved today if I hadn't, had that pressure in London. Okay, bronzer, Charlotte Tilbury, UK, which I miss. I'm just gonna go here. I also sent one of my cameras back to the UK and it's getting its warranty. It broke when I was in Chile and I'm so happy. I had to pay £120 import tax for it. Oh, let me get my brushes, one sec. Okay, just using this brush. I've had this brush for like 3 years. My favorite thing about London is probably just the excitement and the energy of the city. There's 10 million people in the city and I feel like there's 7 or 8 different suburbs and they've all got their own quirks and everything. And I lived in central London for 3 years and I feel like I didn't even touch the surface of that city. There is so much to do. And when I'm talking about like, there is just new events every week and different events and just always something going on. I never ever thought I would come back to Sydney and find Sydney boring or like not exciting, but London is just on another level. It's like the English New York and London. They're on steroids for a tiny girl from New Zealand. So I just loved the energy, the excitement, how many events were on, all these different like pockets of suburbs. And like even just like when I was working in like Liverpool Street, like you come out on your lunch break and you're just like London, like, and there are so many movies filmed in London and there are all these beautiful skyscrapers. And obviously I know that's like a time in my life, like maybe when I'm in my 30s or 40s, when I want to have kids, it won't appeal to me as much. And I'm hoping that's going to be the case. But yeah, like in your 20s, like there were just so many cool events going on. And then if you're not doing anything, then you can go to Europe for the weekend and just like be in a whole new different country and culture within 2 hours. Like that's insane for me. Growing up in New Zealand where you're literally on another planet almost. New Zealand's in the middle of nowhere. Same with Australia. Like we're so far from everything. So yeah, that was like my favorite thing about London. And I think just like you meet a lot more different people from around the world because it is like a multicultural international city. Whereas Australia is such a trick. Like all my friends I've met living overseas, not one of them has come to Australia. I have then made trips back overseas to meet my friends. Australia's so far. Anyway. Did you feel safe in Latin? This is from Carla Durella. Oh, same one. Yes and no. Look, what I will say is people love to scare you. And I think, yes, be cautious, but don't let what people say about countries stop you from going to a place because 99% of the time, these people haven't been. Because if these people had been, they will give you cautious advice, but they won't tell you don't go. Usually the people who are telling you don't go are the people that sit and watch the documentaries of that one girl that gets kidnapped. And it's like, you think of, there's probably 1,000 solo traveler girls that have gone and you only ever hear the bad story. And also, yeah, like it's South America, it's known to not be the safest, but you know, also London's not safe. So I don't think you should not go to a place because of it. Just, I wouldn't go to South America as your first solo travel. I had done 3 years of solo travel around Europe. I'd also moved abroad to 5 different countries on my own. So when I went to South America, I was like, I am ready. Also, it helps if you know the language, but also don't let that stop you from not going, because yeah, I went and it was by far the best thing I've ever done in my life, taking that 5 months in South America. Okay, blending out this bronzer. Okay, next question. There is actually a lot of questions, so I need to... Okay. Wait, you live in London? Well, I did, don't anymore. Are you and your guy officially together? Are you not seeing anyone else? I need to get another brush for my nose. Okay. So, yes, we are. I guess we can't officially be together because in Brazil dating culture, they have to propose for you to be their girlfriend. And obviously I'm here in Australia and he's in Brazil. And I think we never expected to keep the connection, or none of us were like, we have to speak every day when I left Brazil. But we just did. There's a lot of passion, a lot of chemistry there. And I think just when all these rumors started of him kissing girls in Lapa, and I was getting messages from girls in my Instagram and my TikTok saying they kissed my boyfriend, and then now they started saying that they've seen me in Sydney with guys out, I don't know, in Sydney. I think it just made us realize like how much we do like each other. And, you know, he supported me all through when I lost my Instagram account and everything. So I think it's just like we showing a lot of commitment without really needing to, and it's just because we really like each other. So then I guess I was like, well, I'm not going to see anyone. He's like, I'm not going to see anyone. And so then he went and bought a ring because he's in Rio de Janeiro. Do you know how many gringos are in Rio de Janeiro and Brasileiras? I was like, like, so I didn't even tell him to do it. We were just on FaceTime one day and he was like, and then he was like FaceTiming me and he just went and bought a ring. So yeah, we are, and it's super exciting, and I speak to him twice a day, morning and night, and it's like my favorite part of my day. So yeah, been single 7 years, so it feels nice. Okay, bronzer's done. London life, Jamel_Eric. It's not a question. I don't know, London life, I loved, I hated it. It's a hard city, but it's also a very rewarding city. That's what I'll say. Not a question, but keep living it up, girl. Ignore the negative ones and live your life, fellow Kiwi. That's _Corny_. I do get a lot of messages like that, and I'm just forever grateful, because for every like 10 hate messages, you get like one of those, and it just kind of gives you that little boost to be like, okay, what I'm doing is, you know, inspiring some girls, or, you know, bringing positivity to someone's day. Venha a New York, sou brasileiro, adoro seu estilo de vida. Don't know what that says. Come New York, I am Brazil, live Manhattan, amazing girl. So I fala Portuguese. So I can read that, and because I see New York, Brasileira, I can kind of understand. I think this person's living in New York, you know? So yeah. Okay. Influencer, laughing face. I think people get really like upset when I share my success online. But yeah, that's a hate comment. Next travel plan, that's Cassidra_Taylor. Okay, I'm gonna use this blush, which is Peach Gasm, which I don't love, but I bought it and I was distracted and I thought I was getting the right one, but I wasn't. So I'm just doing a little bit here. So I'm going to Greece, and then I was meant to go to London and Germany, but obviously I didn't plan to lose my Instagram account, which meant I lost out on brand deals and money. So I'm just going to Greece. I'm just flying to Greece and coming back, and then I'm going to Brazil at the end of the year. And I also want to do a lot more of like Central America, but it also all depends on money. So yeah, I think, yeah, from now on, like a lot of my travel is going to be like South America now that I have sort of conquered that fear of traveling there solo. And also now, if me and Josiel work out, I can have my Brasileiro to like protect me. Okay, blush, just like that. when you come back to Brazil, that's JK, Marks, BJJ, December. So that is when I'm planning to come back to Brazil. And I cannot wait to reunite with Josiel, and I cannot wait to have a capuchina and practice some Portuguese and just sit on the beach and have the queijo's cheese, quenche queijo, hot cheese. See, it was a little Brasileira. Okay. Any advice for someone moving abroad for the first time? This is deniku.emily. This is a really good question. Right, we're gonna do my brows. Elf, just gonna brush them off. I love my brows microbladed. I would say my biggest advice is don't think too much. I think if you think too much about things, you start to talk yourself out and you start to think of all the things that could go wrong instead of thinking of all the things that could go right. I think that's a big thing a lot of people do in life. They think negatively and they think of everything that could go wrong. And at the end of the day, like if you move to London and it all goes tits up, just book a flight and come back. But for me, my biggest thing in life is I want to do things and say, you know what, I did that, but it didn't work out. I would not want to sit in my retirement home village and be like, I didn't move to London because I was scared it wouldn't work out. Imagine sitting there and being like, or I didn't pursue trying to be an influencer or a content creator because I was scared of what people would think. What people would think that I don't even know now because I'm in a retirement home. And it's the same with like going back to Josiel in Brazil. Obviously some people are like, he's got a side chick, he's cheating on you, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't want to be like, I'm not going to go back to Brazil because it may not work. I would rather go back to Brazil, try it, maybe it doesn't work out, and then have answers. And I think that's a big thing in life because I do not want to end my life with regrets. So yeah, my biggest advice is to not think and just do. It's kind of what I've done with my whole life. But look, I'm very content with my life. I turned 28 in 20 days and there's not a single thing I would change. So that is Lynn's blog's life advice. And also just, yeah, like do your research. I didn't even do my research. Are you kidding? I literally just worked 2 jobs for a whole year here in Australia and I was right, if I move to London with enough money and I'll work it out. Also, when you're in the country, it's actually a lot easier because you do a little bit of research. Like doing a little bit of research and a lot of research is really not going to make a difference. What makes a difference is like when you're actually in the country and you're meeting people and you're networking and so think less and just do it. And like I got fired from jobs in London, like lost jobs, I had no money at one point. You know, but you're also in your 20s and that's for experiencing and like working out who you are as a person. So just go for it, girly, because the worst thing you could do is get into your 30s and 40s and just regret not doing it sooner. Just like people when they tell me, oh, I wish I started filming earlier. Yeah, just do it. Start. Think less. Just do. Should tattoo that on my forehead. Okay. 7 minutes. I'm trying to like keep this like small, but also I feel like people like the chitty chat, like they're sitting down doing their makeup with me. Also tell us more about your past life as a chef. I just survived only 1 weekend as a cook. Hell, this is Bailey B. So actually I think, oh my God, my legs are so dead. I think a lot of people don't know. I have lived 9 lives and I have had probably 25 jobs in my whole life. I've lived in 5 different countries, like 8 different cities. I have done a lot. I left New Zealand on my 18th birthday, which I guess is like, you know, and I moved over to Australia and I lived with my brother. So I worked as a chef when I got to Australia when I was first 18. And I'd worked as a chef in a cafe in New Zealand. I was actually a pastry chef. I actually had a cake business. And I made celebration cakes and wedding cakes and everything. That was my own business at home. And then I worked at a cafe doing all these pastry cakes and everything. So I'm a really good chef and cook and bake and everything. I was also a baker in Ireland. This is what I mean. I've literally done everything. And I think I had saved up enough money to go to Le Cordon Bleu, which is like the French, like a pinnacle, like the best culinary school you can go to. But I'm kind of like got a big ego, and I could already like make French macaroons perfectly at like 16 because there was nothing to do on my farm in New Zealand but bake. So I used to sit and watch YouTube videos. Oh my God, guys, my legs are so dead. I'm sorry. I used to sit on YouTube and literally watch YouTube videos to perfect French macaroons. So then when I had enough money I'd saved up enough money to go to this culinary school. I actually was like, I don't want to spend the money to have a teacher teach me something I already know. So then I came over to Australia and I worked in restaurants. I worked in Coogee Pavilion as a chef, and it was horrible. I hated it, and I think I'm so happy I never went to school for hospitality or chefing because it's something I never ever wanted to do. I love to cook and I love to bake, but I think I love to cook and bake for my friends and my family, and I love to host dinner parties. Like I've hosted so many dinner parties in this apartment, in London, in Canada. So I think that's what I love to do, is like cooking and baking, like, and making like cocktails brings all my friends and family together. Like I prefer that than going to a restaurant. One, because it's cheaper, and two, I feel like it's more intimate and everything. But yeah, I worked as a chef and I got yelled at, I got called horrible names. I was literally only 18. I was working with like men that were 12, 15 years older than me. I was there was this other Asian chef, and she used to do like the sashimi and oysters. So she wasn't on the same section as me. She was on sashimi section, which was here at Coogee Pavilion. And then I was on the larder section, which is the salad section. And then there was like meats, then there was like grill, and then there was like the fryer section. Now I was the only girl on that pass of the restaurant, and I was like getting yelled at in front of the whole restaurant, getting called horrible names, and it was embarrassing and it was humiliating, and yeah, it was really hard. I got such a thick skin, and all I can say is like every time I go into a restaurant and I see the chefs, I'm like, I'm so happy I don't work in that industry anymore, because it's such late nights, it's on your feet, it's like you're in like your skin and hair and everything's greasy and oily, and I was just like, this is not for me. So yeah, that is that. Let me just do my brows. I'm just gonna do a little bit of Anastasia Beverly. I don't really need to do these, but I just think when I put the gel in, sometimes it like has this white residue. I can't lie, I actually love sitting here and talking to you guys because I feel like I have so much to say. But yeah. Okay. Comparing living to Australia and Brazil to Canada. I live in Canada and I want out. This is from the same girl or guy. Bailey B. So I lived in Canada. Let's not get distracted. All right, we're going to do Anastasia Beverly on my... This is just like it's meant to like lighten up here on your brows. That. So I lived in Canada from, I think it's at like end of 2018. No, it was earlier than that, like 2017 to 2019, because in 2020 I was living in Ireland. I lived there for 2 years. Have I almost finished my makeup? I literally have. Okay. Let's just do a Butcher Cardio mascara. And I loved it, but Canada has changed a lot. My two best friends are Canadian. Actually, yeah, my two bestest friends I met when I was 19, which is kind of special. I met them in Canada and they still live there, and obviously I speak to them every day, so they're always updating me like on the job market and the economy, and you know, because we speak a lot. When I lived in Canada, I was working as a server and I would work in the restaurants, work late nights, but oh my gosh, the money I used to make was crazy. It was so good. Yes, working as a server still is really tiring, hard, and you have to like multitask so much. Because here in Australia and New Zealand, when you go to a restaurant, you get one whole bill, you don't split it. In Northern America, if you're like a table of 12, they expect all their bills singular, and you've got to remember, like, he got 3 porn star martinis, he got the nachos, and he got half a garlic bread with that girl. And you've got to literally split all the checks and remember everything. Oh my gosh, I used to have so many systems to remember who was who and everything, but you get gratuity. So you would say if you had a party of 12, you could add gratuity, which is 18. And then a lot of people would tip on top of that if you were a good server. I'm just gonna do my mascara this way because I can't concentrate. So I would average like $200 a night when I lived in Canada, and I would work 5 nights. But then when you work as a server, you make like a smaller wage, so it was like $7 an hour. But the tipping culture is really good in Canada, and it's even better in America, and that's why I always was trying to move to America. I really wanted to work in Aspen on the ski resorts because I worked on the ski resorts in Canada. But when I lived in Canada, I loved it. I feel like Canada was a really good place, but I think now it's got like so expensive. I think after COVID and cost of living, everything, like especially Vancouver and Toronto, which are the two cities I did live in. Wait, they said compare two cities, Canada to Australia. Comparing living to Australia and Brazil to Canada. Okay, I would say the weather, but the weather in Canada is better than the weather in the UK. Australia, I think it's got better wages. I also think in Canada you only get 2 weeks annual leave, whereas in Australia you get 4 weeks. I think the pay is a lot better in Australia than Canada. And the weather is better, but also Canada has snowboarding and it has like beautiful seasons. Canada is very similar to New Zealand. So similar. The one thing I do like about Canada is it's so close to the States, so you can travel a lot to the States and see a lot of the States. Like USA, I mean. I think, okay, mascara's done. I think comparing Australia and Brazil with Canada is the weather mainly. Like you're not going to get these icy cold winters. And the pay, Brazil I can't talk on, but the pay in Australia is a lot better. The beaches, like we have hot beaches, same with Brazil. And the culture is very similar. Like a lot of Canadians are here in Australia, and there's not much of a culture difference. Like I'm very good friends, like my 2 best friends are Canadian. But yeah, it's I think it kind of depends where you're living, and yeah, I don't know really if I've answered this well. It's like the weather and the pay is better here. Let's just put it this way. I've lived in Ireland, I've lived in Canada, I've lived in Brazil, I've lived in London, and I lived in New Zealand, and this is my 3rd time coming back to Australia to live. So it does say a lot about Australia. Okay, this is getting so long, 16 minutes. London Life, that's Nicole Cossey. I think I asked on my question, like, what do you guys want me to talk about? Like London Life, but there is so much to talk about London, so I don't really know what to say to that. Okay, I've got to get my lips done. We've got the Iconic Nude Charlotte Tilbury and a Butcher Cardio gloss. Ooh, I keep changing because I'm like, I don't like the way I'm sitting there, but my legs get dead. How are you navigating your long distance relationship? That's Paige Mikiel. Just lining my lips, and then I'm gonna do the gloss. How am I navigating the long distance relationship? Well, you know what's really funny is when I was doing these interviewing videos of Josielle at the beach, I remember there was one video I was like, okay, 5 red flags in a girl. And then I think, I don't know, one question came up being like, would you ever consider doing long distance relationship? But me and him had only really known each other like 2 weeks. So it was like a question just to like throw in the air, but it wasn't really intentional to be like, we're gonna be together. And he was like, I can't remember his answer. I think he was like, I prefer not to, but for the right person I would. Would you ever do long distance if you really liked someone?
Olha, longa distância, eu já tive uma experiência com isso e eu acho um pouco complicado, né? Então acho que não, mesmo gostando muito, talvez, não posso, acho que complicado, não namoraria à distância não.
Complicado, so that's a no. N-O, it's complicado. And yeah, I guess we never expected to miss each other as much and like want a future with each other. So I think when you're choosing that and you're like, we're both good looking people, got great personalities and everything, we can go for people that are in our countries. But I think when you're choosing someone, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you're how do I explain it? It's like I could be with go be with other people, but I want to be with him, so I feel like that commitment's there. So for me, it's like a goal, like it's like I'm working towards December is to like see him. So in a way, yeah, I miss him, I miss the affection, but I just look back at our videos and the time we have together and it kind of just keeps me going. It's also given me huge motivation to set up my online business, push my influencing, so that when I'm in Brazil, I'm super like independent and everything. And I don't even really like, when I'm in Australia, I work so much anyway to travel. So a lot of the time I'm just working a lot. I don't really have time to be alone or be sad. Like I literally finished work at 2 and I'm down here doing a get ready with me. So I think you just miss them and you miss the like presence of them. But because there's an end goal, it's like, okay, counting down the weeks and the months and the days are honestly going so quick. Like I got back from Brazil at the start of May and we're in July. So like, I think when you have an end goal and there's that constant communication there and there's no, like he's not offline for like 4 hours and I'm thinking what's happening. Like we're choosing each other and you can see that. So it's kind of going good. It's nice, and it's really nice because I was single for 7 years, so I really didn't think I could feel this way again because I kind of just gave up and was like so many like bad experiences. So I hope like even me sharing my story online, which is super scary because you have so many haters who are like, I can't wait to see her crying videos online and stuff like that, which also I'm like, I don't really care because I document my whole life, the highs and the lows, but I hope I'm like inspiring or showing some girls to like not give up. Because I literally just gave up hope. It's not even like I gave up, I just gave up hope. I just thought there's like the man I want and I picture and I see in the movies doesn't exist. Oh my God. My makeup looks so great to sit at home and edit. What? I kind of look tanned. My hair okay, why does my hair look so flat? It's probably because I've been wearing my hair in a plait at the cafe because I'm trying to like not use heat on it and like keep it natural because I'm trying to grow it long again because I miss my long hair. If you guys have followed me for a while, you know that all my hair fell out because of the stress and the water in London. Okay. When are you coming back to Brazil? Maura and Sylvia. When are you going back to Brazil from Samara app? Will you be at next carnival to Brazil? Non-official. How much do you miss Brazil? William_Wellham. Love in Brazil. I want to know your thoughts. Okay. So I'm going back to Brazil in December, and yes, I'm planning to be there for Carnival because that was like the best week of my life. I don't even know how I had never really, actually they'd win Carnival in Toronto and like Carnival in like London, like Notting Hill, but like Brazil Carnival, oh my gosh, that is like elite. If you ever get the chance to do a Carnival in Rio de Janeiro, I don't know, everyone says the one in Salvador is better, but I'm just a karaoke gringa. I love Rio, so yeah, I will be there in December. Oh, I flicked past it. I think I'm on the... Come to Mexico. This is from Edwin.mx713. I actually do want to travel a lot more of Mexico. I went to Mexico when I lived in Canada. I went to Tulum and Cancun and I loved it. Mexico is like such a cool place. It's like one of my favorite places I've been. And I think that's all the questions. Amazing. Well, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these like little get ready with me's. I am showing up consistently on YouTube and I'm really enjoying it. We're working at the cafe tomorrow, like a 12-hour shift, and then on Sunday. But Greece is so soon. I literally have to put an order in for clothes tonight because, let me just show you guys my wardrobe, because when I tell you, I think people don't believe me that like when I move my life around, like I literally came back here with 2 suitcases from London. I threw everything out, gave everything away or sold it. This is my wardrobe right now. And it kind of looks like it's a lot, but it's literally like, these are like Mayfair dresses. So like, what? This is literally just got PR, some jeans. This is my Wimbledon. It's Wimbledon in London at the moment. I'm going to be there. This is like Wimbledon gear and then activewear. So I need some clothes for Greece. Oh my God, my legs are so dead. But maybe I'll just give an update on life in Australia. I guess I'm finding it hard to settle in. Like, my family really wants to see me and I just feel like I'm not in a good headspace, so then I don't want to see them because I have these crash outs where I just kind of like, I'm just like, I miss London, but I know why I came back to Australia. I just think there's a big adjustment phase that I wasn't really prepared for. I also think there is a culture shock. Because when I left Australia to go to London, there was a culture shock. Like, one of the reasons was like, no one wore activewear in London. I was like, that's so weird. Like, why does no one wear activewear like out of the gym? But now after living in London, I like see people in activewear like out of the gym and I'm like, that's so weird. Like, why do people not get changed into normal clothes out of the gym? So it's just like a culture shock with things. But definitely the weather, like, let me show you what day it is today. It's honestly gorgeous. Oh, the weather is definitely helping. Like, look at this. Oh, let me show you. Like, are you kidding? It's so nice and it's winter. So that's definitely helping. But anyway, I'm gonna head down to the rocks and maybe film another video, or I'm gonna actually do an unboxing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Get Ready with me, and I'm loving chatting with you all. And I hope you guys are having an amazing week wherever you are, if it's winter or summer, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
Wanna be just like you.